Hi everyone, welcome back. This is the third module in these offerings on discovering computers, digital technology, data, and devices. This is a part of CIS 101 offered at East Los Angeles College. So let's go through digital security, ethics, and privacy. So whenever you talk about digital security in particular, it's like when you are doing some activities online using your computers, or even you are doing something, some computing offline, there can be a number of security threats. I mean, security threats associated with your digital activities. And the context of ethics and privacy are as important as well because th those two are uh, those two are making a lot of headlines these days for quite some times regarding uh, what are the ethical behaviors, ethical practices you should follow when you do um, any any activities involving your computing, and privacy is also an important factor. Let's start by asking the question to you, like all of us have heard of Facebook hackers who use people's personal information to make some fake identifications, or they log into people's different social networks accounts and like that. So, as a computer user online, as an online computer user, what precautions can you possibly take to help avoid getting into these type of situations? So, what can be the precautions you are thinking of? Okay, so you can post these answers to these questions on your question and answer threads, and we can go over that. So, our modules are pretty rich with identity risk associated with the technology use, um, identity cybercrimes and criminals, recognizing issues related to accuracy of information, intellectual property rights, and green computing, sustainable computing, describe the ways to safeguard against various types of internet and network attacks, uh, technologies to prevent unauthorized computer access. That's very important. Identify risks and safeguards associated with wireless communications. Let's activate the pin. Yeah, we are good. So, identify the risks and safeguards associated with wireless communications. Discuss issues surrounding information privacy. So, privacy is a big thing today. Describe how schools and businesses protect themselves. Explain the importance of inclusivity and digital access. So, the bottom line is we have to be aware of existing cyber threats, and then we have to understand how can we prevent those threats, and some discussions around ethics and privacy best practices. So those are the main highlights for this module. Now, when you use some technology, there can be some risks. So what do we mean by risks? The first question is, what do we mean by risks? A risk is a possibility that something might occur, you know, resulting in an injury or loss. So when you do a digital activity, what are those risks? We have to know. Because, you know, I mean, at the high level, if we think naively, there cannot be any risk of injury when you are doing something digital, but that may not be the case. So, a digital security risk is anything, any incident that could result in a loss of a or damage to computer or mobile device, hardware, software, information, or processing capabilities. So there are multiple types of digital security risks that include threats to our information, physical health, mental health, and the environment. There comes the risk of injury, you know. I mean, whenever we do some digital activities, uh, we should be making sure that we are taking precautions to avoid any possibilities of these security risks like physical health. We should not do anything that will cause harm to our physical health, mental health, and of course the environment. So we will be going through the details of these uh, discussions. Now, cyber crimes and criminals, I mean, this is an important topic. So there can be state sponsored attackers by the governments to launch computer attacks against their enemies. Can be person, can it can the enemies can be person, that can be a group, that can be another country itself. Maybe, I mean, this is done through nation state actors. The term cyber warfare describes an attack whose goal ranges from disabling a government's computer network to crippling a country. That's a huge risk. You know, think of a situation, I mean, like some classic Hollywood movies, maybe you will see that some malicious agent is uh, hacking, taking hold of the power plant of another country, causing severe power outages. You know, there can be other situations as well. These attackers try to steal and use your credit card numbers. I mean, these are some personal threats. I mean, your credit card numbers can be stolen, and your online financial account information, or even social security number, your demographic stubs, I mean, your date of birth, let us say, those can also be stolen through data mining. The data mining is the process of shifting through big data to find the important questions that will yield fruitful results, you know. So they can go over your activities, online activities. They will first hack into your system, and maybe they will go through the online activities, the digital footprints to extract all those sensitive information from your activities. A cyber extortionist is an individual who threatens to expose confidential information they can exploit a security flaw. Your computer may be compromised, some certain programs may be compromised. They will exploit through those compromised areas or launch an attack that will compromise the organization's network. Now, social engineering is a category of attack that attempts to trick the victim into giving valuable information to the attacker. So maybe the hoaxes and phishing, those are important ways. I mean, those are some ways that way they can perform the social engineering. Like, for example, you open your mailbox, whatever email you are using, you open your mailbox, something that happens to your work mailbox, your school's mailbox, you will find a lot of offers there. Like they will ask you, well, there is a letter waiting for you, or there is an award, scholarship waiting for you. Please click this link and enter your social security number. So that can be a way to steal your data. So how do we know that this is a good, I mean, this is a good uh, information or bad information? Okay. So come up with some ideas. And we are going to go through all the details. Now, there is always a risk associated with technology use. Any legal act involving the use of computer or related devices is generally referred to as computer crime, and the term cybercrime refers to online or internet-based illegal acts such as distributing malicious software or committing identity theft. You know, the malicious software distribution is a big problem. Like they can show you that, well, this is a very important program. Sometimes, students are very vulnerable to this attack. Like they will show some websites that they will claim that they have the answer to your every question. You click on that, they will ask you to register yourself, and they will say that it's free. Then while you are registering, they will ask you for your um, vulnerable information, your sensitive information, and that way your information is basically stolen. Then software used by cyber criminals is called crimeware. The cybersecurity is the practice to protect against digital threats, including unauthorized or illegal access to data. How many of you have antivirus on your devices? So, digital forensics or cyber forensics is the discovery, collection, and analysis of evidence found on computers and networks. A digital forensics examiner is a part of the law enforcement, must have the knowledge of the law, technical experience with many types of hardware and software products, superior uh, communication skills, familiarity with corporate structures and policies, a willingness to learn and update skills, and knack for problem solving. So, this is an important job. So, many law enforcement divisions, you will find personnel from cybercrime divisions in the enforcement that do this digital forensic examine. I mean, they work as a digital forensics examiner, and they should have this type of attributes. So they should be expert of hardware and software products. They have very nice, very superior communication skills, and also the policies. They should be aware of structures and policies with the companies. They will be learning and update the skills, of course, from time to time, because those policies and structures that may change. And also, they should be able to do a very good in problem solving. The digital detox is a period of time during which an individual refrains from using technology. Threat actor is more general. These are the terminologies we are explaining here. What is a threat actor? They are more general and common term. That is a common term used to describe individuals who launch attacks against other users and their computers. The dark web is a part of the web that is accessed. using specialized software where users and website operators can remain anonymous while performing illegal actions. For your information, the region of the web that we use in our daily life is about 10% or even 5%. Remaining is the dark web, and those sites, those areas can be accessed with anonymity, and they need special type of browsers. And even, your internet service provider may disable disable your network to install any such software. Script kiddies are individuals who want to attack computers. A hacker is a person who intends to access a computer system without permission. A cracker, so what's the difference between a hacker and cracker? A cracker is someone who accesses a computer or network illegally but has the intent of destroying data, stealing information, or other malicious action. So hacker, maybe there may be some ethical hacker. I mean, they can do it for experiments. Of course, they should not be entering your computer for any reason. They should not be accessing your computer, your area for any reason. They will be working to do some ethical hacking on known systems, and where all the like they will be intruding into certain information systems that will be known to the organizations that they are working for, and those organizations must be some authentic and also positive organizations. I mean, like the antivirus companies, the security companies, there are a lot of industries around uh, protecting your devices. They typically perform ethical hacking into their own systems. They know they orchestrate that, and that way you know how to prevent. Basically, by hacking, they try to find out the loopholes in the system, the known loopholes in the system, and that way they try to prevent those by developing appropriate software pieces. The hacktivists are hackers who are strongly motivated by principles and beliefs, and cyber terrorists attack a nation's computer networks like electrical power grid we were talking about to cause disruption and panic among citizens. The social engineering principles, I mean, like authority, you can see that it is directed by someone impersonating authority. Like they can say, I'm CEO calling, I mean, so that they can assert some importance and you will be lured to their speech. Intermediation, uh, intermedi intermediation is to basically threat someone, to pose some threat towards someone. If you don't reset my password, I will call your supervisor, something like that. Consensus, influenced by what others do. So I called last week and your colleague reset my password. Example, scarcity, something is in short supply. I cannot waste time here. They can say. Um, so do something for me, and it will be great beneficial for you. Urgency, immediate action is needed. My meeting with the board starts in 5 minutes, so send me these secure documents. Familiarity, victim well known and well received. I remember reading good evaluation on you. That's an example. The principle, trust principle, the description is help a person known to you. And then example conversation can be, you know who I am, right? So the standards that determine whether an action is good, bad are known as ethics. This is a very important topic, and also this is a very, I would say, this is a very blurred area. Uh, Good and bad, it's some borderline between good and bad. Bad. Something is legal does not mean something is ethical, and vice versa. Technology ethics are the moral guidelines that govern the use of computers, mobile devices, information systems, and related technologies. Now, frequently discussed areas of computer ethics include information accuracy, intellectual property rights, and green computing. So, for example, intellectual property right, I can tell you, suppose someone is writing a paper and they steal a picture from anybody else's paper without quoting them, without doing giving any reference to them. That's an um, that's an example of harming towards another person's intellectual property rights. And of course, I mean, that particular picture should be protected with some kind of copyright, some level of copyright or license. Uh, Maybe they will say that I don't have any, I mean, this is free to use uh, without any obligations to the license. In that case, that may not cause any intellectual property rights, but best practice is whenever we use somebody else's materials, we should properly acknowledge them. The information accuracy is an important thing. Information accuracy is a concern today because many users access information maintained by other people or companies, such as on the internet. With graphics equipment and software, users can easily digitize photos and then add, change, or remove the images. You can see here, for example, the digitally edited photos that shows a fruit that looks like an apple on the outside and orange in the others in the inside. you I don't believe such a fruit ever exists, but digitally you can make like this. So this is of course not a real thing. It's a digitally modified image of some fruit. The intellectual property rights are the rights to which creators are entitled to their work. The Creative Commons is another source for finding contents that may or may not be used, along with any restrictions or payment needed to use it. A common infringement of copyright is piracy, where people illegally copy software, movies, and music. These issues with copyright law led to the development of digital rights management strategy. So whenever we talk about Creative Commons, we can take a look at this. Let me bring the browser here. Yes. So if you go to the Creative Commons homepage, you will see um, a lot of things. I mean, licenses and tools. I mean, who we are, what we do. You will see a lot of information. The website is creativecommons.org, and you will see the licenses and tools. You can see all the licenses and tools, and you see that the copy, I mean, Creative Commons licensed works. There are a lot of Creative Commons licensed works exist across millions of websites. The majorities are hosted by content platforms that provide Creative Commons license options for their uses. You can see the Flickr, Wikipedia, YouTube, um, Vimeo, and so on. So you can also see the blog posts here, um, and also, I mean, basically, this is a very useful website. It's an open source, it's a free website, but you can find a lot of informations about the license. I mean, in order, if, for example, if you want to um, simply if you create some content, you can protect your content by using some license. So how do you choose it? How do you enforce it? Those are the things that you can find here. And also, of course, I mean, you have to know particular works which you can use, how you can use those works in your work, the other people's work, how you can use those, and so on. So you will see a lot of information here. like technology platforms. You can see a lot of technology platform they mention here. So they show you, uh, I mean, how do they enable Creative Commons license for the users and so on. That's it. So that's a important website that you can go through and learn a lot about it. The green computing involves reducing electricity and environmental waste while using the computer, mobile device, and related technologies. The organizations can implement a variety of measures to reduce electrical waste. For example, you will see in the today's industries, there is a huge push for sustainable investment. That means they are investment managers. I mean, the fund managers, they tend to choose the companies that that performs the practices involving the sustainable who are doing sustainable practices. You know, the green computing tips, for example, here you can see uh, the conservation of energy, first of all, and then you can use computers and devices to comply with Energy Star program. Do not leave a computer device running overnight. Turn off the monitor, printer, and other devices when you are not using. You can reduce the environmental waste by you can use the paperless method to communicate. You will find that your bank is asking you always they are asking you to be online. I mean completely online. Like don't use the paper statement, because whenever you use the paper statement, that producing a paper is itself an environmental issue. You are killing a tree and then you are creating a lot of greenhouse effects in the world by operating your printing devices. A recycle toner and ink cartridge, computers, mobile device, printers, and other services. I mean, you can do that. You can do telecommute. There is another thing. If your company allows or if your school allows, you can be online. That way, you can reduce your commute, and then you are not using any car, using any transportation. Then you are basically going green. Even in the campus, you can use bikes, scooties. I mean, all those not anything related to electrical artifacts or the something running by gasoline. You can use simply manually driven bikes, for example. That's a green practice that improves your health. First of all, you are doing physical activities, and also it saves the environment. You can use the video conference and VoIP meetings for the meetings. So that those are top. I mean, those are the good green computing tips. Information transmitted over networks has higher degree of security risk than information kept on an organization's premises. These types of attacks can affect your privacy, personal information, finances, and more. Malware, this is an important word. Malware is a short for malicious software that consists of programs that act without a user's knowledge and deliberately alter operations of computers and mobile devices. They can be delivered, malware can deliver its payload or destructive event or prank on a computer or mobile devices in variety of ways. A common way that computers and mobile devices become infected with viruses and other malware is through users opening infected email attachments. Pay absolute attention to the emails that you are opening. So the common types of malwares, they are, for example, adware. So a program that adware is a program that an online advertisement in a banner, pop-up window, or pop under window on web pages, email messages, and other internet services. You can have a ransomware. This has created a lot of activities. I mean, lot of agitations. In, in, I mean, these days, a program that blocks or limit access to the computer, phone, or file until the user pays some money to the agency, to the person, to the malicious agents that transmitted this one. Rootkit is a program that hides in a computer or mobile device and allows someone from remote location to take full control of the computer or device. Spyware is a program placed on a computer or mobile device without the user's knowledge that secretly collects their personal information. Trojan horse, is a program that hides within or looks like a legitimate program. The virus is potentially a damaging program that affects or infects a computer mobile device negatively by altering the way the computer or device works. A worm is a program that copies itself repeatedly and, for example, in memory or on network, using up resources and possibly shutting down the computer or network. There are a lot of such threats. The botnets is a component is a I mean, the botnets are compromised. A compromised computer or device known as zombie is one whose owner is unwanted and unaware that the computer or device is being uh, controlled remotely by another user, an outsider. A botnet, you have to remember these terms because these will be important for your quizzes and question answer. A botnet or zombie army is a group of compromised computers or mobile devices connected to a network that are used to attack other networks, usually for nefarious purposes. A bot is a program that performs a repetitive task on a network. Cybercriminals install malicious bots on unprotected computers and devices to create botnets. Denial of service attacks, that's a very important thing. I mean, that happens many times. A denial of service attack is a type of attack, usually on a server, that is meant to overload is the server with network traffic, with a lot of network traffic, in fact, so that it cannot provide necessary services such as web or email. For example, if you're suppose you are on a device on a network and that has a limit on how many users it can support, and then in such an attack, denial of service attack, some malicious agents, they may simply start using I mean they can fabricate an attack by and they start using the whole resources in such a huge way that everybody else, the legitimate users, cannot do anything there. A more devastating type of denial of service attack is a distributed uh, denial of service attack in which multiple computers, such as a zombie army, are used to attack a server or other network sources. The damage caused by denial of attack or DDoS attack usually is very extensive. A backdoor is a program, remember the terms, is a program that or set of instructions in a program that allows user to bypass security controls when accessing a program, computer, or network. A rootkit can be a backdoor. Some worms leave backdoors. Programmers often build backdoors into programs during systems development to save development time. This is important. Sometimes these are ethical. I mean, you are developing a code and doing that, but always remember that these backdoors needs to be prevented when you deploy the program, your code, your application to the production environment where everybody else, I mean, your users are going to use the programs. You should not, I mean, you should not leave the backdoors open in your program. You can of course use these backdoors to, I mean, ethical backdoors to test your program, to develop your program, but then afterwards you should block those backdoors, you should fix those backdoors and make it completely official, absolutely secured, so that there is no backdoor activities can take place. The spoofing is a technique intruders use to make their network or internet transmission appear legitimate to victims' computer or network. So, another term, spoofing. Two common types of spoofing schemes are IP and address spoofing. IP spoofing occurs when an intruder computer tricks a network into believing its IP address is associated with a trusted source. Address spoofing occurs when the sender's email address or other components of an email headers are altered. So spoofers, you can see an example. The spoofers have altered the components and header of an email message so that it appears that the message originated from a different sender. So here you can see it looks like it is coming from the eBay. I mean, it's a famous online e-commerce platform, but in practice it's not. I mean, it's trying to spoof you to steal your information. So what are the practices for protection from viruses and other malware? This is an important discussion, you know. So you can use virus protection software, you can use a firewall, be suspicious of all unsolicited email and text messages. Disconnect your computer from the internet. I mean, when you are not using internet, you can disconnect it. Download software with caution. You should download software only from the authentic sites. Close spyware windows before using any removable media. Scan it for malware. Keep current and backup regularly. Also, I mean, what another thing you should be doing is to update your operating systems. Like you are using Microsoft Windows, you should be updating the Windows as the new patch available is available from Microsoft. Or if you use some other operating system, update your system regularly, apply the new patches regularly, so that your system is immune from any attacks. So a rootkit is a only type of malware that is a backdoor. It is true or false. This is true. Rootkits is the only type of malware that is a backdoor. This is an important thing. Your digital footprint is the record of everything you do online. A digital footprint can be nearly impossible or completely erase. Firewalls and access control protects data information on computers and other devices. The risks you face online when you use the internet or email include online banking, e-commerce shopping, fake websites, social media sites. So this table actually shows you uses of personal information. Let's say if you are in school, for your situation, the information, let's say the telephone number. Valid use is call you, I mean, school can call you about advising appointment. Invalid use is for school, I mean, nobody does that in the school. Give to credit card company who calls you about applying a new credit card. They cannot sell your information to the credit card companies. The hospital, for example, the healthcare organizations, information is the medical history. Valid use is they can refer to past procedures when you are admitted as a patient. Invalid use is sell to drug company who sends you information about different products. Uh, employer, for your employer, uh, the information, let's say personal email address, the valid use can be send you the latest company newsletter. That's relevant, but invalid use is provide to a local merchant who is having a holiday sale. Mobile users today often access their company networks through VPN, virtual private network. It's a private, secure path across a public network that allows authorized users to secure access to company or other network. Like for example, when you are accessing your uh, community college district site, you often do it in this way. Like, for example, you go mycollegelsccd.edu and then you reach to this platform from where you can access all the, this is for faculties. I mean, I believe something similar for students also exists. So there you can go different places where you want to go within the network of LSCCD. So this is an example of protected network. It's not necessarily a VPN, but it's a protected network. A VPN is a private path across the public network that allows authorized user to secure access to a company or other network. A VPN provides the mobile users with secure connection to the company's network server. VPNs help ensure that data is safe from being intercepted by unauthorized people. And the technique they use is the encryption. They encrypt the data as it transmits from a laptop, smartphone, or other mobile devices. There are different encryption techniques and they are found to be very strong. The firewalls protect network resources from outsiders to restrict employees' access to sensitive data, such as payroll or personal records. A proxy server is a server outside the organization's network that controls which communications pass in and out of the organization's network. Both Windows and Mac operating systems include firewall capabilities, including monitoring internet traffic to and from installed applications. Unauthorized access is the use of computer or network without permission. It is possibly an illegal activity. So, anytime you find something going on with the unauthorized access, that means the computers are being compromised by external malicious agents. Organizations take several measures to help prevent unauthorized access and use. Organizations acceptable use policy, that is important. I mean, whenever you enter some organization's machine, you should you should read that policy that should specify the acceptable use of technology by employees and personal reasons. The organization should document and explain AUP to the employees. The AUP also should specify the personal activities, if any, they are allowed on company's time. So when someone works for a company, they may not be allowed uh, to like sending let us say personal email messages using company's email, because there are a lot of risks there. I mean, you accidentally send company's data, company's information, which is not available to the common public, that may harm company's image, that may harm company's bottom line, the stock prices and so on. So that's an example, but there may be some others. Many organizations use access controls to minimize the chance that a malicious agent intentionally or an employee accidentally may access confidential information. So, for example, you cannot access the payroll information if you are working for a company unless you are authorized to do so. You are an employee within the payroll and you have full authentication authorization to do so. You cannot access there. The computer device or network should maintain an audit trail that records access attempts, both successful and unsuccessful. To protect against data loss caused by hardware, software, and information theft or system failure, backup is required. Online backup services use special software on the computer to monitor what files have changed or have been created. Cloud backup services can save you the cost of maintaining hardware. So this table summarizes different backup methods, like the full backup, for example. So full backup, it copies everything on the files and media on the computer. This is a fastest recovery method. Disadvantage is it takes a lot of time. Differential backup is every day you take backup, whatever existed yesterday and whatever changed today, you just back up the changes. So there is one in the initial time. At the initial time, you take one full backup and then you keep on doing differential backup. This is a very fast backup method, you know. This is one of the advantages of uh, of the backups. This particular process, it's fast, it's speedy. Recovery time is time consuming because the last full backup and differential backups are needed. Incremental backup is copies only the files that have changed since the last full backup. It's the fastest backup method. Recovery is the most time consuming because last full backup and all incremental backups are needed. Selective backup, you can use or choose, maybe you can choose only a particular folder to be backed up on your particular device. You may keep all your important information on under a folder, and every time you do a backup you take the backup of that folder. That's a very intelligent way. I mean, it's a fast backup method with a lot of flexibility, but you know it's sometimes difficult to manage individual files. So that's why it is very questionable because I mean, I may think that I put all information inside some folder, then we forget that like 5 months ago I put my transcripts in a different folder. Continuous data protection is basically all data is backed up whenever a change is made. The only real-time backup, very fast recovery of data is possible. It's expensive and requires a great amount of storage. Now, you should be able to protect your mobile devices as well. Some people think that phones are immune from any security threats, but that's not the case. Uh, when you protect your computer devices, it is also necessary to protect the privacy of your information. Some risks from attacks on Wi-Fi networks include reading wireless transmissions or viewing the stealing computer data, injecting malware, or downloading harmful content. The precautions are when you use public Wi-Fi, be sure you are connecting to the approved wireless network. Limit type of activity you do on public network to simply web surfing to watching online videos. You can, I mean, for example, you should not be accessing your bank account using the public networks. Accessing online banking sites send confidential information that could be intercepted is not a good idea. Configuring your Wi-Fi wireless router to provide the highest level of security is an important step. So configuration settings, this table summarizes the configuration settings for wireless routers. For example, you have the access password. This requires a password to access the configuration settings of the device. You should create a strong password so that the attackers cannot break it. The remote management is another setting. A remote management allows the configuration settings to be changed from anywhere through the internet connection. So you can turn off remote management so that someone outside cannot access the configuration settings. Service set identifier SSID. The SSID is the same as local network, wireless network. Change this from default setting to a value that does not reveal the identity of the owner or the location of the network. Like you can say myWireNet, this type of things. Wireless router setting, that is, this table summarizes configuration. I mean, it continues to do that. Wi-Fi protected access to, I mean, WPA2 personal setting is recommended because this encrypts, you know, the wireless data transmissions and also limits who can access the Wi-Fi network. Turn on WPA2 and set a strong pre-shared key. Wi-Fi protected setups, this simplifies setting up the security on a wireless network. turn off WPS due to its security vulnerabilities. Uh, Guest access is allows temporary users to access the wireless network without any additional configuration setting. You can turn on the guest access when needed and turn it back off when approved guests leave. Disable SSID broadcast. This prevents the wireless router from advertising the wireless network to anyone in the area. You can leave SSID broadbands on. Turning them off only provide a very weak degree of security and may suggest to an attacker that your network has valuable information. Secure your wireless network. How do you do that? So these are the following steps or suggestions. Immediately upon connecting your wireless access point or router, change the password required to access the administrative features. Change the SSID or network name from the default to something. Do not broadcast the SSID. You should always enable an encryption method and specify a strong password. You should enable and configure the Media Access Control or MAC address control feature. A MAC address is a unique hardware identifier for your device. Uh, Choose a secure location for your wireless router so that unauthorized people cannot access it. Cloud data privacy is another thing. With the advent of cloud computing, this is very important these days. The cloud offers a tremendous amount of storage space at a relatively low cost. The security of data and the reliability of cloud companies trigger concerns. Two types of personal risks are there. Personal risk, two types of risks. Personal risk is international laws and industry regulations on protect sensitive and personal data. Business risks, ownership and security of data should be included in any contact between a business and a cloud storage provider. So authentication, how do you, now we are approaching how we can secure our information. Authentication is the process of ensuring that you identify the person who is accessing the device or some resources. So different methods can be used like passwords. Like you access your bank account, you use your user ID and passwords. They can be called as credentials. You can use the biometrics like Face ID, for example, two-factor authentication, like you can use like uh, your you can you can send um, you can receive some one-time passcode on your mobile device from the website you are trying to access. There can be CAPTCHA that can eliminate that it is not there is no automated access anywhere. Of course, the encryption is a very important key to protect your communications. The passwords, basically, you know what password is, right? It's an example. You can see this picture. The password is a secret identification. So this password needs to be strong. You should use alphanumeric and then some symbols and should not use some trivial names like your name. You should not be using your name as your password, for example. And 10 most common password, for example, you can see people use here this type of passwords. There is a big no to use this password. There can be a number of possible passwords. Password length, if it is 2, there can be these many possible. I mean, these are all examples like be, important because there can be some simulated brute force attacks. So then you should make it impossible for for any malicious agent to crack your password. So let's say if you use password length of 6, then number of possible passwords is this. Average attempt to break the password is this. It is very, very hard. So more you have the length, least there is a chance to be your password to be broken by some malicious agents. So You should use a password manager, which is a program that helps you create and store multiple strong password in a single user vault file that is protected by one strong master password. Password managers to use two-step verification um, and advanced encryption techniques to ensure information is stored securely. Some organizations use passphrases to authenticate users. A PIN, personal identification number, is sometimes used. That is also called passcode sometimes. A, a possessed object is any item that you must possess or carry with you to gain access to a computer. Sometimes you have some badges, some devices, some security cards, um, sometimes your phone, simple mobile device. Some organizations today, they make it mandatory that you carry a mobile device across with you in order to get access to their network. The card you use is an ATM, automated teller machine, is a possessed object that allows access to your bank account, for example. The biometric security uses unique characteristic of your face, hands, and eyes to authenticate you. So the facial recognition is an important part of the privacy, ensuring privacy. The two-factor authentication is a multiple types of authentication. Most common authentication elements that are combined are passwords and codes sent to a cell phone using a text message. This is called 2FA. It makes authentication stronger. CAPTCHAs stand completely automatic public Turing test to tell computers and humans apart. CAPTCHA is a program developed at Carnegie Mellon University that displays an image containing a series of distorted characters to identify and verify that user input is from humans, not from the machines. Encryption is the process of scrambling information in such a way that it cannot be read unless the user processes the key to unlock is to is so that it is returned to a readable format. That's a decryption. So encryption and decryption. So you send a message, so it is encrypted, and then it is accompanied with it's a encryption key, and then it is received by someone. So there they use the key to decrypt the message. So that is basically encryption and decryption. A digital signature is an electronic encrypted and secure stamp of authentication on a document issued um, by a CA organization. Browser security, although all browsers are different, each can be configured for stronger security through the recommended settings. So what do you mean by CA organization? CS here, I mean, I'm talking about this particular terminology. CA stands for certificate authority. So whenever you have a digital signature situation, it is accompanied by issuing a certificate, digital certificate, and that is provided by some certificate authority. So this is a process by which you can make some secure digital communications. So you can find a lot of information on um, certificate authority. I mean, if you can simply visit the Wikipedia page, they have a tons of information about the certificate authority. There are more resources. You can explore the web for it. So you can protect your personal and financial information that includes not only your identity but your financial information as well. Attackers can impersonate you. Attackers can and should you can take you should take several steps to prevent your information from being compromised. So what are the actions? The United States has laws in place to help users monitor, protect their financial information that is stored by a credit report agency. So you can always request one free credit report annually to review your credit history and determine if an attacker has secretly taken out a credit card or even loan in your name. You can always also have a credit freeze uh, put on your credit information so that it cannot be accessed without your explicit permission. It is a good idea to monitor your credit information regularly. There are a lot of services initiated by your financial institute. Maybe you will find a lot of access to the to the to those services uh, from your financial institution, but you have to use absolute caution to use any such service. You can protect your online profile like social networking site. There can be multiple social networking site, Facebook, for example. You should you should be cautious about what information you post. You should be cautious regarding who can view your information. You should pay close attention to information about new or updated security settings. So, settings is the key. Whenever you go to the social network, explore all the settings before you start sharing your information so that you can control how you are sharing those information. Information collected and stored about individuals should be limited. Once collected, provision should be made to protect the data. Personal information should be released outside the organization collecting the data only when the person has agreed to its disclosures. The individual should know that the data is being collected and have opportunity to determine the accuracy of the data. So there are a set of US privacy laws these are very important things you should consider when you use any services, any device, even when you develop any software. Children Internet Protection Act, it protects minors from inappropriate content when accessing the internet in schools and libraries. Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, COPA, requires websites to protect personal information of children under 13 years of age. Digital Millennium Copyright Act makes it illegal to circumvent anti-piracy schemes in commercial software, outlaws sale and devices and copy software illegally. Freedom of Information Act enables public access to the most government records. HIPAA, that is important for healthcare, that protects individuals against the wrongful disclosure of their health information. At the doctor's office, in the beginning we specify the HIPAA clauses. They specify you the HIPAA clauses, and you have to uh, you have to sign it off before you receive any treatment. Patriot Act that provides law information the right to monitor people's activities. Privacy Act is it forbids federal agencies from allowing information to be used for a reason other than for which it was collected. Fair and accurate credit information provides rules for financial institutions, including lenders and credit reporting companies, to protect consumers from fraud and identity theft. So the biometric devices are gaining popularity, right? So you can discuss the advantages and disadvantages of using biometrics over passwords and pins. So those are important, and this is an important discussion. Try to pitch in. How to establish policies to ensure safety. So companies establish guidelines for use. Um, the code of conduct is given out to the employees that determines whether a specification is ethical, unethical, or allowed. An IT code of conduct, information technology code of conduct, focuses on the acceptable use of technology. So this is an example, for example, you can see here, technology may not be used to harm other people. Employees may not meddle in other files. Employees may use technology only for purposes which they have been authorized to. You should not use any copyrighted information for your personal purpose. Maybe it is copyrighted and license is bought for the company, but not for your personal use. So then in that way, you can violate the policy. These are the examples. Go through the list. Uh, Content filtering is the process of restricting access to certain materials. Many businesses use content filtering to limit employees' web access. Web filtering software are programs that restrict access to specified websites. Sometimes, for example, if from your company's network you may not be able to access certain websites, those are not which are not included within company's policies, and they are subject to content filtering. The employee monitoring involves the use of computers, mobile devices, or cameras to observe, record, or review employees' use of technology, including communications such as email messages, keyboard activity used to measure productivity. They can use everything, and websites visited. Many programs exist that easily allow employers to monitor employees. If a company does not have a formal email policy, it can read email messages without employee notification. A disaster recovery plan, every company has such a plan for their IT resources as well. Is a written plan that describes the steps an organization would take to restore its computer operations in the event of a disaster. Each company and each department within an organization usually has its own. It typically contains four components: emergency plan, backup plan, recovery plan, and test plan. An emergency plan specifies the steps in organized by step of disaster and includes names and phone numbers of people and organizations to notify, computer equipment procedures and employees evacuation procedures, return procedures. Sometimes they do the regular exercises, disaster recovery exercises. That's pretty common in all organizations. The backup plan specifies how to use the backup files and equipments to resume computer operations. It may be the location of backup data, supplies, and equipment, who is responsible for gathering backup resources and transporting them to an alternative computer facility, the methods by which data will be restored from cloud storage. With cloud, this is much easier. These steps are much easier right now. For example, a schedule meant indicating the order and approximate time each application should be up and running. The recovery plan specifies the actions to restore full computer operations, such as replacing hardware or software. The test plan includes simulating various levels of disasters and recording the ability to recover. So, how do you establish policies to make sure that safety is ensured for everyone? So disaster type, for example, it can be uh, natural disaster, for example, can be earthquake, uh, tornado, hurricane, all such things. So what to do first? I mean, you should shut off the power, evacuate if necessary, pay attention to advisories, do not use phone lines if lightning occurs. What might occur? Um, there can be some power outage, phone line are down, structure damage, road closures, flooding, equipment damage. What include in the plan? You can use the generator to combat the power outage. You can use the satellite phones. List of employees' phone numbers is necessary. Structural damage of the building. You can have alternative work site. You can take action if employees are not be able to come to work. Wet and dry vacuums you can use, flooding in the case of flooding, and the water recedes. Make model number, vendor information to get replacements for the equipment damage. Man-made like hazardous material spill, terrorist attack, etc. Notify the authorities. That's the key. Attempt to suppress fire or contain spill safely, of course. Evacuate if it is needed. Um, you may experience data loss in this events, dangerous condition for the employees, criminal activities, uh, equipment damage. So you have to back up data, protect site, protection equipment, and an evacuation plan is necessary. Contact law enforcement, make and model numbers and vendors information to obtain the replacements. So what are the ethics and issues? I mean, what is there? The digital inclusion is the movement to ensure that all users, regardless of economic or geographic constraints, have access to the devices, data, and infrastructure required to receive high speed, accurate, and reliable information. The goal of digital inclusion is to ensure that everyone has access to all the online resources, including education, participation in the local and national government, employment listings and interviews, and healthcare access. Ethics and issues, I mean, inclusivity and digital access. The second point is some barriers to digital inclusion include geographic areas that lack of infrastructure. There can be some remote areas where you don't have the internet. There can be such situation. Government restrictions or censorship. Some military regions sometimes they are prone to lose their connections many times due to security issues. Affordable devices or connections. It may not be affordable. Lack of education and also the lack of understanding of the value of technology. So you can do some case study. So, for example, uh, Miss Hania is a math teacher and they use their laptop only once a month for making assignments. One day, after starting her laptop, signing into the operating system, a message was displayed stating that her virus protection are out of date and need to be updated. She's worried she got a virus. So how do you so the questions specifically, what should Miss Hania's next step be? Sign out and shut down the laptop, visit a laptop repair center, uninstall the firewall, or reinstall the protection software? What she should be doing? So the answer is D, reinstall and the protection software. So when you reinstall, the software usually checks for the latest versions, and in that they reinstall all the uh, everything to the latest version. That way, the virus protection gets restored to the most advanced level. So there are self-assessment questions you can go through here. So in this particular uh, chapter, we have come to the end of this chapter, and we have learned all the objectives. I mean, if you go through the slides, you will be able to learn all the important objectives of this chapter. So with this, I would like to stop right now from this presentation, and the forum is open for your questions. Send me your questions if you have any. Thank you. Talk to you later.